This video is about something that almost never happens here at the Support Center. I'm talking about those really bad days when, say, there's a medical emergency, or there's a tornado, or maybe the building catches fire, there's a flood, or maybe there's even an earthquake. The question is, what do you do? Well, do you know? The answer to that question could save your life. So now that I've got your attention, let's find an answer. At the Support Center, there are two main types of emergencies that could occur: evacuation and non-evacuation emergencies. Over the next few minutes, we'll look at each type of emergency, and by the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of how to keep yourself and your coworkers safe. The first thing we need to do is introduce you to your floor warden. A floor warden is a specially designated person who is responsible for the safety of others on his or her floor. Floor wardens are equipped with two-way radios so that in a building-wide emergency, they can communicate with the incident commander. Doing so will allow them to take the proper actions to keep other employees safe. In an emergency, floor wardens will wear their official uniform, which is a high-visibility vest. Most importantly, remember that in an emergency, floor wardens are in charge, and they are responsible for your safety in any building-wide emergency. Now, that leads me to this question. How will you know if there's an emergency? The answer: in a building-wide emergency, employees will be notified by either an alarm sounding or by the operator over the public address system making a scripted announcement. You'll hear the alarm system for any type of emergency in which we need to evacuate the building, or the operator will announce a severe weather emergency with instructions. The goal of these warning systems is to provide all employees with enough time to properly react to the emergency. Okay, first, let's talk about the emergencies that require everyone to evacuate the building. These include fire, a bomb threat, flooding, and earthquake. In these types of emergencies, the general evacuation alarm will be activated. The most important thing to remember about evacuations: regardless of the situation, all evacuations must be performed in a calm, cool, and collected manner. Remember that evacuating the building requires everyone to go down the stairs. Elevators are never to be used in a building-wide emergency. The general evacuation alarm will include strobe lights for the hearing impaired and an audible siren, followed by a computer-generated voice announcing, "Evacuate the building."
An emergency has been reported in the building. While this is being investigated, please leave the building by the nearest exit. Do not use the elevators.
When this happens, you'll evacuate the building using the closest evacuation route. This is going to be the stairwell that's closest to you. And you're going to take the stairwell down to the emergency exit or the employee exit. How will you know? Evacuation route maps are posted next to every stairwell. Now, it's everybody's responsibility to know their own personal designated evacuation route. So after this video, take a moment to review your personal evacuation plan. Once out of the building, we will need to keep track of all employees to ensure that everyone made it out safely. You'll notice on the back of your employee badge, there's a color code. This color code matches a light pole in the parking lot. This is your designated point of evacuation. Now, if you happen to be in another area of the building, evacuate to that color-coded area. And then you should move to your area when it's safe to do so. Persons with physical disabilities on the second, third, and fourth floors who cannot evacuate the building should go to their designated area of refuge. On all floors, that's going to be the men's restroom on the north side of the building. They are to remain there unless otherwise directed or assisted by a floor warden or member of the fire department. Physically disabled persons on the first floor should use the visitor's exit, and those on the garden level should use the garden level fire exit or employee exit. We have a very sophisticated automatic alarm system in this facility. However, in the event that it does fail, the floor wardens and their assistants will announce "Evacuate the building" orders. All persons must follow these orders immediately. Remember, in an emergency, these people are in charge of your safety. Once the building has been evacuated and it's determined that it's safe to re-enter, the all-clear voice notification will sound and re-entry to the building will be permitted. So that's what you should do if you need to evacuate because of an emergency. But what about those types of emergencies that you should not evacuate for? Namely, severe weather, such as tornadoes or hurricanes. And there's also the possibility of a chemical spill on I-35. In the event of a tornado or other severe weather emergency, an announcement will be made by the switchboard operator to move to the nearest stairwell. All persons are to immediately begin moving. The garden and first floor are to move to the mailroom and warehouse area. All other persons should use the stairwell closest to them for their floor and move to the lowest level possible and remain there in the stairwell. Persons with physical disabilities should move to their area of refuge. All of these areas are reinforced, free from windows, and designed to protect you. They are the safest places in the building in the event of a tornado or other severe weather. It's important that you stay in these areas until the all-clear notification is given, after which employees may return to their work areas. Now that we've covered what you should do if you're told there's an emergency, let's talk about your responsibilities if you're the one who discovers an emergency. See, it's every employee's responsibility to alert the proper person if they are the first to discover an emergency. So, let's say you happen to discover a fire. What should you do? You should immediately shout fire, find the nearest phone, dial 911 to alert the fire department. Now, let's shift gears from mass emergencies to some very specific situations. If you discover someone requiring emergency medical attention during normal business hours, immediately call the operator from any internal phone. State the exact location and the Sally First Responder Plan will be implemented. Our trained team of first responders will determine if an ambulance or an EMT is needed. And if there's a medical emergency after hours or an emergency for which security is needed, dial extension 2004. This extension is answered by a live person 24/7. For any other type of emergency you should happen to encounter, such as an electrical emergency or other health and safety hazards, dial 2004. And if you happen to receive a bomb threat, you should also dial 2004 immediately. So let's review. In case of a fire or other building evacuation emergency, you'll hear the evacuate the building alert, after which you'll immediately exit the building via the closest evacuation route and directly go to your designated evacuation area in the parking lot. The color code on the back of your employee badge will tell you which color-coded light pole to go to. In case of a tornado or other severe weather emergency, you'll go to your closest stairwell and move to the lowest level possible. If you happen to work on the garden or first floor, you'll move to the mailroom or warehouse area. In both cases, persons with physical disabilities who are unable to evacuate or navigate stairs will go to their designated area of refuge. In both cases, you'll stay in your designated area of refuge until you hear the all-clear notification or until emergency personnel come to assist you. If you happen to discover an emergency, it's your responsibility to alert others. For a fire, immediately shout fire and dial 911 from the nearest phone. For medical emergencies, dial 0 from an internal Sally phone. All after-hours medical emergencies and all other emergencies, including bomb threats, dial 2004. And that's it. Thank you for helping to keep the Sally Beauty Worldwide Support Center a safer place to work. Stay alert, be aware, and be safe.